So my presentation is on genetically modified organisms versus traditional farming. How can we produce enough food to feed a rapidly expanding world population? The answer is genetically modified organisms, otherwise known as GMOs. By comparing the production rates of soybeans in the United States against Russia, you can see that GMO soybeans have a higher yield. The best way to dive into this topic is by first looking at what a GMO is, then looking at the production rates and yields of both countries. Also, I will investigate the growing population of the world and the current number of people that are malnourished worldwide. Finally, I will end by answering the naysayers who believe that GMOs are no help to us. According to Jeffrey Smith of Responsible Technology, a GMO is the result of a laboratory process where genes from the DNA of one species are extracted and artificially forced into the genes of an unrelated plant or animal. The benefit of GMOs is that you can take from one of the genes of one plant and put it into another plant that needs it. This means you can greatly increase the yield of a plant and decrease the plant's growth time. If a GMO is done correctly, you can greatly maximize all of your resources, including money and time. The fact that GMOs can put the needed genes of a plant into another makes GMOs well worth it. The next thing to look at is the comparison of production rates between the United States and Russia and the yield of soybeans. The reason these two countries are the best to compare is that the US has no major laws for GMO production and is the country with the highest yields of GMO products. Russia is the most populated country with a complete ban on GMO production and imports. The two countries cannot be more opposite. According to a game report, the reason Russia banned GMOs was due to health effects on animals, humans, and the environment. While the US has over 175 million acres of farmland dedicated to GMOs, in the US there's a total of 33.42 million hectares dedicated to soybeans. That is of the 370 million hectares of farmland in the US. In Russia, they only dedicate 1.91 million hectares of farmland to soybeans. I could not find the exact number of how many acres of farmland Russia has, but the US can harvest the US can harvest 2.7 metric tons of soybeans per hectare, while Russia can only harvest 1.2 metric tons of soybeans per hectare. The amazing thing is that 94% of soybeans used in the US are GMOs. That is a major key to providing that GMOs are a step in the right direction to ending world hunger, since the US uses GMO soybeans and it doubles the yields of Russia. As you can tell by the stuff I pulled from the USDA, in 2014-2015, there was 33.42 million hectares dedicated to soybeans in the US, but only 1.91 dedicated in Russia. And if you go over and look at the yield, for every hectare, there was 3.2 metric tons of soybeans collected in the US, and only 1.24 collected in Russia. To truly understand why GMOs are needed, you will need to look at the current population and the amount of people who are malnourished. Per a recent UN report, the population right now is 7.3 billion and is expected to reach 8.5 billion by 2030, 9.7 billion in 2050, and 11.2 billion in 2100. Based on the population growth the world will see in the next few years, it is not hard to tell that something needs to be improved in our production rates of food. I have already compared the yield rates of GMO soybeans versus non-GMO soybeans, and the numbers are astonishing. With the yield rates of GMO soybeans being nearly double, it is sort of hard not to look at that as the future of our agriculture. Another study done by World Food Program states some 795 million people in the world do not have enough food to lead a daily healthy life. That's about 1 in 9 people on Earth. If our current production rates do not change, that means over 1 billion people will be malnourished by 2050. It is sad enough now to see almost 800 million people malnourished, and we cannot let that continue. It is time that we take time to truly sit down and study GMOs and make it the future of our agriculture. Finally, even after looking at the statistics, there's always going to be people who disagree with the point of view in changing our food production. They may question the risk to both the environment and humans. Azadi and Ho look and discuss the benefits of non-GMOs They list lower health risk, less cost, and more jobs. There is no reason to worry about health risks as nothing has been set in stone yet. As for the idea of non-GMOs costing less, it is hard to believe. With the high increase in yield of soybeans alone because of GMOs, it is easily a moneymaker. Finally, with the increase of jobs, with non-GMOs, GMOs is easily a moneymaker. Finally, with the increase of jobs with non-GMOs, it can be looked at more closely. With the yield increase in jobs, it will require more workers on both the farms and fields and factories to manage such a high amount of crops. Herb pollen health risk is the biggest factor when it comes to the use of GMOs. He claims health risks, but at this point, nothing has been proven correct in his statements. He is just saying something that is terrifying people without much fact in the statement. Hopefully, people will one day see that GMOs are a necessity for our future. Based on the compared production of soybeans between the United States and Russia, it is an indicator that GMOs are the way to go. First, I looked at the definition of GMOs, followed up with the compared production rates between GMOs and non-GMOs, and the drastic increase of the GMO production. Finally, I addressed naysayers and answered some doubts they may have. In the end, I believe that mass GMO production is the only way to go. My reasoning for that statement lies on the fact that the production rates of GMOs in the US more than doubled that of non-GMOs in Russia. And here's all the works cited where I pulled all my information for the slides.